Reporter Don Kendrick sat down face-to-face with a narcotics officer for an insider's take.
Right, and it was in Cleveland where they are going after these people hard. This guy I sat down with today, he's a captain, and he says from 2004 to 2011, narcotics cops busted about 6 meth labs. And that is the same number they've closed in on just the last 6 months in Cleveland. So are meth labs and the number of those hooked on it on the rise? You betcha. And for law enforcement and for this reporter, it is impossible to ignore. I spent the weekend with meth on my mind because I couldn't get away from it. Friday reported on this Akron mom and her buddies charged in the death of her 17-month-old baby boy. He died breathing in fumes from the meth they were cooking in their basement. At the very same time I told you that story, Cleveland police busted 2 meth labs.
It's in neighborhoods everywhere.
Cleveland Police Captain Brian Heffernan, part of the narcotics unit that raided a meth lab in the Flats here in this building with one of the best views in the city on Riverbend, and also moved in on an active lab here in Tremont on Raleigh Street. The making of meth not confined to backwoods trailers anymore, like this recent bust in Wayne County. The Tremont house a stone's throw from other homes, a busy bar on the corner, and even the Christmas Story house. It was an explosion waiting to happen, and it is happening all over.
And they showed us a fire where a whole complex burned down because the guy had a 2-liter bottle of, used to be pop, doing a cook, and the explosion was so serious it burned down the whole apartment complex.
Google methamphetamine, and the first thing that pops up is a recipe how to make it, for Pete's sake.
They're self-taught from the internet, or some other meth addict taught them how to do it. It scares you, is what it does. It really does.
I'll say, and inevitably one bust leads to another nowadays, and that, coupled with vigilant people like you in all kinds of neighborhoods, are giving police a much-needed edge. You want to know how to spot a meth lab in your neighborhood? You can log on to 19actionnews.com. From the Newsplex, I'm Don Kendrick, 19 Action News.
Don Kendrick live at 11 with the exclusive details. Don?
Well, we've been saying it quite a bit from Chardon here, but tonight we were particularly impressed with the show of support that was orchestrated exclusively by students who've seen so much sadness here in Chardon. Happy birthday to you. Demetrius Hewlin would have been 17 years old today. Instead, his mother had to bury him on Tuesday. So tonight, more than 50 of Hewlin's classmates walked from Chardon Square to his mother's home.
Happy birthday, dear Demetrius.
And one by one filed up for what they hoped were healing hugs.
If there's anything that we can do for her, we're going to be there. And that even something as small as this, lighting candles and singing for him, we're supporting her through everything she's going through.
It's getting cold out here. Cover yourself up, baby.
She was so supportive at the wake and everything, asking how we were doing. Their whole family is so strong, every single one of them, and so we need to be strong tonight and give back.
The outpouring of support for all of the Chardon High School students simply mind-boggling. The school's halls lined with lots of cards and posters, wrapping around pretty much every inch of the walls and stairways.
It helps us get through the day, just looking at the cards. They hung them on every locker, and cards from schools in South Carolina and flowers from Texas and Wisconsin. The support from all the other states and counties is so awesome.
Support for Chardon students who themselves have proven to be remarkably resilient and still able to reach out to those who've lost the most. Now, when Demetrius' mom told us all that he was an organ donor, she also, if you remember, said she would appreciate it if students remembered his birthday. Well, they told me tonight, listen, we heard her. We're listening. And I want to point something out. This is the quietest Chardon Square has been in almost 2 weeks. No doubt the attention will begin to wane. But if those kids are any indication, I can tell you right now, Chardon is definitely going to be taking care of its own for years to come. I'm Dawn Kendrick reporting live from Chardon, 19 Action News. Well, chances are you're getting ready to go to bed in your own homes right about now, a routine where we assume we won't wake up to a living nightmare. But when you see for yourself the debris from this accident in the light of day, it's really hard to imagine just how there weren't more lives lost.
I've been scared.
It was an awful lot for 6-year-old Emma to take in when a gruesome tragedy unfolded outside her window at about 3:30 this morning. The mauled up tree in their neighbor's lawn begins to tell the story. A 1997 F-150 pickup truck slammed into it, headed westbound on Perkins Avenue.
Both occupants in the vehicle were ejected. The truck spun around, hit the house. Both the truck and the car and the house caught on fire.
The passenger, 30-year-old Bradley Vickery of Bellevue, Ohio, died at the hospital. The driver died here in the fire. But as this fatal nightmare unfolded, 5 people inside this burning house made it out unscathed.
I just kept praying for the neighbors. I'm like, I didn't even know what to say.
At 35 miles an hour, police say this isn't historically a dangerous curve. But with glass on her roof and police paint marking the spot where one of the tires landed in her flower beds, Jill Beal believes that truck had to be going awfully fast.
I'm seeing a tire here. I'm seeing, debris everywhere. I looked on my porch and I'm like, oh my God, there's glass on my porch. Like, how hard did this accident, this truck hit this tree? Like, how hard did it actually hit?
Really, just to give you some perspective, here's the tree that truck slammed into. Here's a panel from inside the truck. And then just 13 feet away, here's the room where Jill's daughters usually sleep.
If that tree wasn't there, that truck would have came through our house.
So while 2 families mourn the loss of loved ones tonight,
It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been 6 fatalities in here, 5 in here, 6 in here also. So we're blessed to have that tree right there.
the silver lining in all of this comes from the mouths of babes.
Yeah, they're safe, and God, pray, bless them. It's a good thing that God was watching over them.
I love that little Emma. The coroner is working to identify the driver now with dental records and determining also if alcohol or drugs played a part in that accident. Neither the driver nor the passenger were wearing seatbelts. Live from the Newsplex, I'm Dawn Kendrick, 19 Action News.